Please say yes if I'm audible and visible. Hello, am I audible? आवाज आ रही है मेरी? हेलो, good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible? Say yes. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Good afternoon to all of you. Okay. Uh, I'm not getting response from anyone. Please say yes. Okay. Yes. Yes, sir. Yashwani is saying yes, sir. Okay. Fine. There was some technical issues. Now, let's start. So, good evening to all of you. Good evening, Sarah Sheikh. Good evening, Angaj. So, in this video, first of all, welcome you all at Gradeup. This is me, Salik. And in this video, we'll be learning about bank privatization. You must be seeing in news that bank privatization is in news. And in fact, 10 to 15 days bank employees had a, you can say, a strike, nationwide strike, right? I hope you would have seen 2 day nationwide strike was there against bank privatization, and that is why it becomes very important to understand what is bank privatization. Now, a second thing is you might be thinking, sir, this is an economics topic, right? This topic is related to economics, but is economics important for CLAT? Yes or no? Okay, that is very important. Is it important? Yes, economics is important even for law students. Why? Because if you see the CLAT 2020 paper, I hope if you are preparing seriously, you must have seen the previous question. There was a question from economics. There was a paragraph regarding foreign exchange reserve, forex, and LTRO. These terms were used in that paragraph. It means even economics is also important for CLAT 2020. So we will be discussing about basic economics also in the videos. Okay, so please follow us. Okay, and subscribe the channel. Now, in this video, we'll be learning about bank privatization. What exactly is privatization? What is nationalization? Why the government employees are, you can say, bank employees are protesting, and all that. Okay, so first of all, the topics that we'll be learning today is about what is privatization. The first we'll be learning about this here. Then we'll be learning about what is nationalization. Then we'll be learning about pros and cons of privatization. Then we'll be learning about bank employees protest against privatization. Then at the last, we'll be learning about comprehension based question based on new CLAT pattern 2020. Okay, clear? Now, Now, let's start with what exactly is a privatization. Yes, hello everybody. Hello, how are you? Uh, welcome you all at Gradeup. Okay, good afternoon to all of you. Now, let's start. What is a privatization? The definition of privatization is it means a transfer of ownership, management, and control of public sector enterprise to the private sector. Okay, this is the basic definition of privatization. Or this can be an easier definition. Privatization means transferring the ownership from the government to private sector either by selling the majority share or the entire share to private players. This is called privatization. Indira Gandhi ने भी किया था nationalization of bank. Yes, we'll discuss a little bit about that. Okay, we'll discuss nationalization and privatization. So, so please be with us. Okay. So in short, you can say what is majority stake and all that. Let's say, for example, there is a company called X, and the ownership is with the government, and the government is selling this to the private company. This is called as privatization. In short, okay. Or if the majority share is being sold, I'll explain what exactly is majority share. Okay. Uh, now let's talk about nationalization. What is nationalization? Nationalization किसको कहते हैं? It refers to the transfer of ownership, management, and control of an enterprise from the private players to the government. ये क्या है? Exactly opposite है. Nationalization का मतलब ये होता है कि अगर प्राइवेट कंपनी है, उसके हाथ में कोई कंपनी, लेट्स से X, if that company sells this X company to government, and if the government buys that company, that is called as nationalization. Means coming in the hands of the government. Okay, this is called as nationalization. Now, under nationalization, the government buys the majority share or the entire share of the enterprise. नेशनलाइजेशन में ये होता है कि मेजोरिटी शेयर जो है, ये मेजोरिटी स्टेक जो है वो गवर्नमेंट खरीद लेती है प्राइवेट कंपनी से. ओके. नाउ इसको हम लोग इस तरह समझते हैं, थोड़ा अच्छे से क्लियर डेफिनेशन में. आप इमेजिन कीजिए कि एक प्राइवेट कंपनी है. दिस इज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी. ओके. एंड हियर इज अ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. हियर इज अ गवर्नमेंट, आई वुड से, सॉरी. ओके. नाउ कोई कंपनी है एक्स, वो अभी जो है प्राइवेट कंपनी के हाथ में, प्राइवेट कंपनी के हाथ में. दिस कंपनी इज बीइंग सोल्ड टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड गवर्नमेंट इज बाइंग इट. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज नेशनलाइजेशन. ठीक है, और क्लियर करके हम आपको बता रहे हैं. और अगर मेजोरिटी शेयर भी सेल कर दे, इफ द प्राइवेट कंपनी सेल्स द मेजोरिटी शेयर टू द गवर्नमेंट, दैट इज आल्सो नेशनलाइजेशन. मेजोरिटी शेयर का मतलब हुआ, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल, राइट नाउ दिस कंपनी हैज 100% शेयर and this company has sold 60% of its share to the government. It means if a government has more than 50% of share of a company, then the government will run that company. I hope it is clear. That is called as majority share. ठीक है, ये clear है? Now, if the government sells a company back to a private company, ठीक है, मान लीजिए किसी कंपनी को गवर्नमेंट ने किसी प्राइवेट हाथों में बेच दिया, ठीक है, that is called as privatization. ओके. अच्छा, पूरा नहीं बेचा, मेजोरिटी शेयर बेचा. लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल 100% शेयर गवर्नमेंट का था एंड द गवर्नमेंट हैज सोल्ड ओनली 70% ऑफ द शेयर. Still it is called as privatization because the private company has now become the majority shareholder. And if the private company becomes the majority shareholder, it is the job of the private company to now run the government and to now run the that company. Okay, is it clear? ठीक है ना? Now, let's talk about one thing called as Air India privatization. Now, if you are reading newspaper for the past 2 3 years, we are reading this news that the government is trying to privatize Air India. Air India is a government-owned company. Okay, and the government is trying to privatize it. We'll see in the future slides what are the, you can say, pros and cons of privatization. Okay, so be with us. Center to invite financial bids by March end. Okay, this is the article from Business Today, and the article is from 11th March 2021. ठीक है, सो गवर्नमेंट जो है एयर इंडिया को प्राइवेटाइज करना चाह रही है. इसका मतलब है कि उसका मेजोरिटी शेयर जो है वो बेचना चाह रही है प्राइवेट कंपनी को, या हो सकता है पूरा 100% शेयर ही प्राइवेट कंपनी को बेच दे. ओके, क्लियर है? दिस इज कॉल्ड एज प्राइवेटाइजेशन. नाउ इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? देखिए, ये जो एयर इंडिया है, दिस इज राइट नाउ विद द गवर्नमेंट. द गवर्नमेंट वांट्स टू सेल इट टू एनी अदर प्राइवेट कंपनी. कोई भी ऐसी प्राइवेट कंपनी जो ख्वाहिश रखती हो खरीदने के, वो एयर इंडिया को खरीद सकती है. एनी प्राइवेट कंपनी इंटरेस्टेड इन बाइंग एयर इंडिया कैन बाई. तो उसमें यू कैन से सॉर्ट ऑफ एन ऑक्शनिंग विल बी डन, राइट? The highest bidder will be the highest bidder will buy it. हाईएस्ट बिडर समझते हो ना, जिसको हिंदी में हम लोग कहते हैं कि बोली लगाना, कि कौन सबसे ज्यादा दाम मिलेगा उसी को गवर्नमेंट बेचेगी. ठीक है, तो दैट इज द वेरी आइडिया ऑफ यू कैन से प्राइवेटाइजेशन. आई होप टिल नाउ इट इज क्लियर. Sir, which one is better, nationalization or privatization? Okay, Mr. KP Jha will discuss about the pros and cons of privatization. Okay, so when we'll discuss this now, you will get to know. Okay, now after that you can decide by your own whether privatization is important or nationalization. I mean, it's a very big debate actually, whether nationalization is good or privatization is good, and it can be variable. For some company, privatization may be good. For some sector, maybe nationalization is good. Okay, so we cannot give you can say pass direct judgment that nationalization is always good or privatization is always good. It's not the case. Okay, now, uh, now you can see here, this is a Wikipedia page, Air India, and it says it is owned by the Air India Limited, which is a government-owned enterprise. Okay, you can go and read more about it on the Wikipedia page, and the government now is trying to sell this Air India. Okay, now please press the like button, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, whenever you will push the like button, हम लोग को अच्छा लगता है इसलिए कि motivation मिलता है. We get motivation to make a good quality content. Okay, and that is why liking the video is very important. Okay, now if you are interested in CLAT 2021, please buy our courses, and the number is here. You can contact on this number. And if you are preparing for BHU, BLAT, Jamia Millia, Aligarh Muslim University, or any other LLB examination, we have course for you for 2021. In fact, for 2022 also, we have courses. Okay. Now, let's talk about the article from Indian Express. Now, we have already discussed about privatization in general. What do you mean by privatization and nationalization? Okay. Now we are going to talk about the privatization of banks. Okay. I have taken an article from 11th February 2021 from Indian Express, and the article says move to privatize banks. Why the proposal? What are the concerns? यानी क्यों प्रपोजल लाया जा रहा है कि प्राइवेटाइज किया जाए बैंक को, और क्या क्या कंसर्न है, यानी क्या क्या लोग सोच सकते हैं कि इससे इस बात का खदशा है. ठीक है. If you have seen the budget that was presented on 1st February 2021 this year, you you know about budget. Okay, so the budget of this year, this financial year, talked about privatizing two PSU this financial year actually. Okay, so the budget has said that we are going to privatize two public sector banks or public sector unit banks this financial year. Okay, now first of all we have to understand what is the meaning of PSB. It means public sector bank. Public sector bank. What do you mean by that? It means a bank which has at least 51% share of the government. मतलब क्या हुआ? Majority of the share should be with the government. Majority share is with the government. ठीक है, इसी को हम लोग कहते हैं पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक. सारा शेख इज आस्किंग सर फिर एम्प्लॉइज को गवर्नमेंट जॉब वाली फैसिलिटी नहीं मिलेगी. हाँ, यस, वी विल डिस्कस इन कॉन्स, प्रोज एंड कॉन्स वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट प्राइवेटाइजेशन, तो उसमें आ गया. यस, यू आर राइट. ठीक है. नाउ similarly we have public sector, private sector bank, and whenever we talk about private sector bank, they are in the hands of the private company, in the hands of private company, or you can say majority share is in the hand of private company. Okay, so public sector bank, whenever this term you find public, in most of the cases it means government. Okay, not always, but yes, if you read the word public sector anywhere, you can understand that it is related to the government or the government ownership is there. ठीक है, इसीलिए public sector bank. Now अब आप पढ़ो इसको फिर से. The government, the budget proposes to privatize two PSU. It means public sector unit banks. Both are same thing. Either I can write it PSU bank or PSB, public sector bank. Both are same thing. This financial year. Okay. Whenever we talk about this financial year, it starts from 1st April 2021 to 31st March 2022, and we call it as financial year 2021 2022. This is how we write. Okay. APJ is asking, sir, how many banks are going to be privatized? Right now in this year, two. Here you can see it. Two private sector banks, two public sector banks will be privatized. Right now, this is the plan. I mean, in this financial year, from 2021 to 22. Okay. Future में और भी होगा. अभी उस पे हम नहीं जा रहे हैं. ठीक है. Now, you can see here, this is an article from Times of India. So on 1st February 2021, the government announced the privatization of two public sector banks. And after 15 days, there was a report actually, center shortlist four banks for potential privatization. एक रिपोर्ट आई, उस रिपोर्ट में ये मालूम हुआ कि फोर पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स, दैट इज बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, इंडियन ओवरसीज बैंक एंड सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ इंडिया हैव बीन शॉर्टलिस्टेड. इसका मतलब हुआ कि इस चार में से कोई दो बैंक को प्राइवेटाइज किया जाएगा. इट मींस अमंग दीस फोर बैंक्स टू विल बी प्राइवेटाइज्ड. दिस मींस द मीनिंग ऑफ शॉर्टलिस्टिंग ऑफ बैंक्स. ठीक है, इज इट क्लियर? Now, what happened was when this report came in public, you can say, although it is not an official news, you can say this here, you can see with anonymity as this is not yet public. It means this report was not yet public, but somehow it got leaked. So what happened was the employees of these banks became angry, by against privatization. And we'll be discussing about the pros and cons of the privatization. Now, the first is privatization of banks pros. It means कि उसके फायदे क्या क्या है. ठीक है. First is government will get money which is required right now. Okay. सबसे पहला फायदा ये होगा कि सरकार को पैसा मिलेगा जिसकी उसको अभी जरूरत है. Now, इसका मतलब क्या होता है? You must be knowing that in 2020 we had pandemic, and because of which the lockdown happened, and because of which the private investment will be low. इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? प्राइवेट कंपनी ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट वगैरह करेगी नहीं, इसलिए कि अभी थोड़ा डाउन चल रहा है इकोनॉमी बिकॉज ऑफ लॉकडाउन. आई होप इट इज क्लियर. सो नाउ इट इज द जॉब ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट to spend, and that is called as government spending is the need of the hour. So government should spend on the public, then only economy will flourish. So that is why if the government sells the bank, what will do is it will get money, it will get a revenue. पहला चीज पहली बात है कि पैसा आएगा अगर बैंक सेल करेंगे. Now, it is said that privatization increases efficiency of a firm, and thus there are chances that NPA would decrease. Okay. Okay, wait. Somebody saying, sir, three banks going to potential privatize. Ah, yes. Actually, two plus IDBI was also there. Right. This was, in fact, announced in budget. So this was clear actually. So that is why I was talking about these two only. इसलिए कि ये क्लियर कर दिया गया था बजट में कि आईडीबीआई भी प्राइवेटाइज किया जाएगा. ठीक है. नाउ you are right. Okay, now it is said that privatization increases efficiency of a firm, and thus there are chances that NPA would decrease. देखिए होता क्या है कि ऐसे जनरली भी कहा जाता है कि whenever there is a privatization, it will increase the efficiency. For example, whenever we say that let's say government bus is there and a private bus is there, you will find more efficiency in private bus. Okay, ठीक है. But उसके नुकसानात भी है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कॉस्ट में भी हाई, दैट इज आल्सो देयर. ओके, सो द प्रोज इज दैट the efficiency of the private sector bank would be much high, okay, as compared to the government bank, and these are very easy concept. Now, so that the chances of NPA would decrease. NPA क्या होता है ये समझना बहुत important है actually, and nowadays it is in news, so you should be knowing. NPA stands for non performing asset. Okay, what do you mean by this non-performing asset? This is also called as a defaulted loan. यानी ऐसा कर्ज जो वापस ना किया गया हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज अ गाय कॉल्ड एक्स एंड देयर इज अ गाय कॉल्ड वाई. ठीक है. एंड गाय एक्स हैज टेकन अ लोन ऑफ लेट्स से 100 रुपीज. ठीक है, कर्ज लिया 100 रुपए का, एंड द एक्स हैज सेड दैट आई विल रिटर्न बैक टू यू ऑन 31st December 2020. ठीक है, मान लीजिए इसने जुलाई में कर्ज लिया और 31 दिसंबर 2020 को क्या कि हम वापस कर देंगे. So when 31st December 2020 has crossed, he has not returned that money to Y. ठीक है, उन्होंने पैसा not returned. Okay. and this was the, you can say, deadline date. Even after 90 days of deadline date, this loan is called as non performing asset. मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर 31 दिसंबर को डेडलाइन था कर्ज वापस करने का, उसके 90 डेज बाद भी कर्ज नहीं वापस किया गया, तो वो लोन को हम एनपीए कहते हैं. Is it clear? That is called as non-performing asset. I have stated in a very easy term. Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya. Yes, they are also in. They also ran away because of that defaulted loan. Yes, right. Yes. Good evening, Rishabh. Okay, is it clear? Now, that is why if you see, there are, like, for example, this is an article from Financial Express dated 4th July 2020. This is a last year article. I want to show you this NPA crisis. NPA means non-performing asset crisis, yeah, loan default crisis. When it comes to loan losses, PSB, that is public sector banks, यानी सरकारी बैंक जिसकी बात है, जिसमें 51% कम से कम गवर्नमेंट का शेयर हो, are far ahead of private banks. चेक नंबर्स, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, यानी नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक का ज्यादा है एज कंपेयर टू प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक. इट मींस if we privatize the bank, then chances are there that non-performing asset will decrease. ठीक है, ये एक दलील हो सकती है फेवर में प्राइवेटाइजेशन की. दिस कैन बी एन आर्ग्यूमेंट इन फेवर ऑफ प्राइवेटाइजेशन, दैट इफ वी आर प्राइवेटाइजिंग द बैंक, then NPA will decrease. Now, as far as non-performing assets are concerned, the NPA is higher for public sector banks. This we have discussed. Okay. Now let's talk about this. This is called as Economic Survey 2018-19, and if you have seen the Economic Survey of 2018-19, this has talked about private investment as the key driver of growth, jobs, export, and demand. So this was pre-2020 actually, pre-2020 lockdown. The Economic Survey had said कि प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट जो होगा ना, प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट यानी प्राइवेट कंपनी जब इन्वेस्ट करेगी, तो उससे इंडिया की इकोनॉमी को की ड्राइवर है ग्रोथ, जॉब्स, एक्सपोर्ट, डिमांड में. But after 2020 lockdown and all that, now it is very difficult for us to believe that private sector will invest. So now it is the time for the government to invest. Okay, government to spend more and more money. So and hence privatization is the need of the hour because government will get money. Okay. Now let's talk about privatization of banks and cons. Cons यानी नुकसानात क्या क्या है इसके. Okay, negative aspect you can say. The negative aspect is private banks think only of profit. So we know these things that any private company first think of its profit, right? So for example, let's say for example, there's a bank called SBI. So you can find branches of SBI, in fact, in remote areas also. And SBI can give loans to poor also. Okay, poor students. Because this is a government bank, but ICICI or any other private bank will give it to the rich students because उनको वापस पैसा चाहिए. बोले गरीब बच्चे को, स्टूडेंट को दिया तो वापस नहीं देगा पैसा, तो कर्ज. ठीक है. That is why private sector bank only talks about profit. Second thing is public sector banks. Most of the you can say most of the branches of private sector banks are in urban areas because they give loans to the rich people. They only talk to rich people. सब चीज उनका अमीर लोगों के साथ होता है, या शहर में बहुत गरीब डाउन टोडन एरियाज में नहीं पाया जाता. So this is why if you have seen the you can say interview of any bank employee protesting, तो लोग ये दलील यही दे रहे हैं कि गवर्नमेंट बैंक्स जो होता है वो गरीबों के लिए होता है एक तरह से. बिकॉज देयर इज अ कंसेप्ट कॉल्ड एज वेलफेयर स्टेट. इंडिया इज अ वेलफेयर स्टेट. इट मींस द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज डूइंग फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ द कॉमन मैन. गरीब लोगों के लिए, कॉमन मैन के लिए, इसीलिए वेलफेयर स्टेट कहा जाता है. इंडिया जो है एक वेलफेयर स्टेट है. सो गवर्नमेंट मे नॉट ऑल थिंक ऑफ प्रॉफिट ऑल द टाइम. अगर कई बार ऐसा होता है गवर्नमेंट को लॉस होता है तो भी वो काम करती है ताकि जनता की भलाई हो. क्लियर. नाउ गवर्नमेंट मे नॉट गेट गुड रेट इन सेलिंग देम. तो ये भी एक दलील दी जा रही है कि अगर प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक को बेचा जाए तो शायद उतना अच्छा रेट नहीं मिले. दिस कैन बी एन आर्गुमेंट. एंड द लास्ट वन, दिस इज द वेरी रीजन व्हाई, the main reason why you can say bank employees are protesting. This is the very reason. Job insecurity. That they are saying that if our banks will be privatized, then perhaps I will be sacked, my salary will be decreased, or you can say, let's say for example, there are 100 employees. So what private bank will do is it will reduce the employees to 50, and 50 will be sacked. Or you can say there will be no pension. They will say कि after retirement we will not give you pension. Okay, so गवर्नमेंट जॉब बहुत सारे लोग प्राइवेट जॉब छोड़ के इसलिए गवर्नमेंट जॉब में जाते हैं, इसमें बहुत सारी सोशल सिक्योरिटी मिलती है. ओके, so this is the main reason why bank employees are protesting. I hope it's clear. Now, let's talk about this article from Livemint. Actually, this is an article of 15th March 2021. So hardly it's 15 days back or 20 days back. There was a 2-day bank strike by banking services. You can say banking services to be hit as 10 lakh employees joined protest. So what happened was they had a 2-day strike. Strike means they will not go to work. They will not work. मतलब जैसे कॉलेज में मास बंक होता है ना, वैसे ही कि हम लोग काम नहीं करेंगे 2 दिन. ठीक है. So banking operations including checks clearance across the country got affected today as bankers under the aegis of United Forum of Bank Unions have gone on a nationwide strike. ठीक है. So अगर 10 लाख लोग एम्प्लॉय स्ट्राइक पे जाएंगे तो काफी ज्यादा बैंकिंग सर्विसेज को असर पड़ेगा. ओके, और उससे काफी इकोनॉमी पर भी असर पड़ता है. ठीक है. नाउ अब ये आर्टिकल है, दिस इज यस्टरडेज आर्टिकल ओनली, दिस 5 अप्रैल 2021 एंड दिस इज आर्टिकल फ्रॉम लाइवमिंट ओनली. And it says bank unions threaten to intensify protest against privatization bid. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि बैंक यूनियंस मतलब जो यूनियन के लोग हैं, यानी जो ऑल बैंकिंग के लोग हैं, बैंक एम्प्लॉय हैं, उनका यूनियन ये कह रहा है कि गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट लिसनिंग टू अस. गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट लिसनिंग. सो व्हाट विल डू इज इफ द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट विल नॉट लिसन, देन वी विल इंटेंसिफाई द प्रोटेस्ट, यानी हम और ज्यादा सख्त प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे. This is what they said. Okay, this is what this article means, and that is why this topic becomes important for you for the exam also. ठीक है, clear है. Now, you can say this article when people started protesting on March 16, 2021, and this is an article from Hindustan Times, and our finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji said, bank employees' salary pension will be protected in case of privatization. So she is saying that if even if the bank will be privatized, the employees' social security will not be removed. ठीक है ना, मतलब ये हुआ कि उनको पेंशन मिलेगा या उनकी सैलरी कटेगी नहीं या उनको मतलब सैक नहीं किया जाएगा. Okay, now uh, first thing. Second thing is she has also said not all banks are going to be privatized, and even those which are likely to be will continue to function. The finance minister said कि सारे बैंक को प्राइवेटाइज नहीं किया जा रहा है, ऐसा ना समझे. कुछ ही लोग बैंक को किया जाएगा, और जो जिसको किया भी जाएगा प्राइवेटाइज वो अच्छे से वर्क करेगा, फंक्शन करेगा. इसका उन्होंने एश्योरेंस दिया. नाउ डू यू हैव एनीथिंग टू आस्क टिल हियर? किसी को कोई सवाल पूछना है? Then we'll start with the comprehension based question. Any question? Is there any question? Sir, public का क्या फायदा है? So that is what we have discussed, that NPA will be lesser, non-performing asset. So जितना बैंक स्ट्रांग रहेगा, बैंक जितना स्ट्रांग रहेगा ना, उतनी इकोनॉमी स्ट्रांग रहेगी. Okay, let me explain here. If banking system is strong, if banking system is strong, so bank can give loans to big projects. उससे क्या होगा? डेवलपमेंट ज्यादा होगा. Clear? Now, what is happening is in government banks, the banks are becoming weaker because of NPA crisis, and that is why government is saying कि अगर privatize हो जाएगा, so banks will be stronger. This is one argument. Okay, पब्लिक का क्या फायदा? ओके, सो अगर ऐसा हो जाए तो ये एक दलील है कि इकोनॉमी जो है वो स्ट्रांग रहेगी अगर प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक अच्छे से वर्क करे, एफिशिएंसी यू कैन से अंडरस्टैंड। ठीक है, क्लियर नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द comprehension based question on the latest CLAT pattern, and I have taken an article from Economic Times. And the article says nationwide strike impacts banking services of public sector unit banks on day one. So this is an article from 15th March 2021, which was talking about the public sector bank employees strike. And the article says the banking services such as cash withdrawals, deposits, check clearing, and business transactions are impacted across the country on Monday, the day one of PSU बैंक एम्प्लॉय स्ट्राइक, यानी जो पहले दिन जो स्ट्राइक हुआ उसमें काफी लोगों को असर हुआ इसका बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शन वगैरह का, अगेंस्ट द प्रपोज्ड प्राइवेटाइजेशन ऑफ टू मोर स्टेट ओन्ड लेंडर्स, यानी वही टू पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक की बात हो रही। ठीक है, United Forum of Bank Unions, an umbrella body of 9 unions, had given a strike call for March 15 and 16 and claimed that about 10 lakh bank employees and officers will participate in the strike. ये तो हम लोग देख चुके हैं कि एक बैंक यूनियन है जिसने कहा कि 15 और 16 मार्च को हम लोग 2 दिन का बैंक स्ट्राइक करेंगे। ठीक है, now, in the union budget presented last month, the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman had announced the privatization of two public sector banks as part of the government's disinvestment plan. ठीक है, ये तो clear है। All India Bank Officers Association General Secretary Swami Datta said the government policies are going to have ill effects on the economy, as also it will be reflected in the upcoming poll in some states. तो इनकी ये राय है ना कि अगर गवर्नमेंट बैंक को प्राइवेट हाथों में दे दिया जाएगा तो इकोनॉमी वीक हो जाएगी। कैसे? बिकॉज दे आर सेइंग कि द गवर्नमेंट बैंक्स हैव मोर पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट आल्सो, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल कि इन रूरल एरियाज दे विल लेंड। ओके, इन रूरल एरियाज और गरीब की मदद यही लोग करते हैं, एक उनकी ये दलील है। ठीक है, he said nearly all the bank employees have taken part in 2 day strike except for top level employees। इसका मतलब है कि जो सीनियर लेवल के अधिकारी हैं उनको छोड़ के सारे लोगों ने बैंक में जो स्ट्राइक हुआ है 2 दिन का उसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है, बैंक स्ट्राइक में। All banking services are impacted from cash withdrawal to deposits, business transaction, loan process, check clearing, account opening and business transaction। ही सेड, तो उन्होंने ये कहा है कि सारा जितना भी कैश विड्रॉल है, बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शन वगैरह सब ठप था। ठीक है, ही सेड दैट स्ट्राइकिंग एम्प्लॉइज हैव टेकन आउट रैलीज wherever permitted across the country and given a sat in, and if the government does not listen to them they will go on even a bigger indefinite strike like the one on the lines of ongoing farmers agitation। तो लोगों ने ये कहा है कि जो बैंक एम्प्लॉइज है वो लोगों ने रैलियां निकाली है और सैट इन यानी धरने पर बैठ गए हैं और ये कहा है कि अगर सरकार बात नहीं सुनेगी तो हम लोग इनडेफिनेट स्ट्राइक चले जाएंगे जिस तरह फार्मर एजिटेशन चल रहा है, ये उन्होंने कहा। ठीक है, now let's talk about the question। The first question is what do you mean by disinvestment which is mentioned in the passage? ठीक है, the first option is not doing any investment, the second is investment in a loss making firm, the third is investing in a profit gaining firm, and the last is government selling the share of a firm। तो डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट किसको कहते हैं? देखिए यहाँ पे पैसेज में एक जगह यूज हुआ है, यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट्स डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान। तो ये डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट क्या होता है आपको बताना है। ठीक है, नाउ एक्सप्लेन, प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट विल बी द आंसर ऑफ क्वेश्चन नंबर 1। दिव्यानी सेइंग डी, एनीबॉडी एल्स? ओनली वन पर्सन। Shahid is saying D, Yashraj Singh is saying D, Shakti Angad is saying D, KPJ is saying D. Okay, Jyoti is saying D. Okay. Yes. Okay, yes, right, right. This investment means this government selling the share of a firm to a private company actually. That is called as disinvestment. So the privatization can be done through disinvestment. अपनी कंपनी का शेयर बेचना, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज गवर्नमेंट अगर अपनी कंपनी का शेयर बेच रही है उसको हम डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट कहते हैं. आई होप इट इज क्लियर. आदित्य गुप्ता, यस प्लीज राइट. Okay, now let's move on to the second question, and the second question is how many public sector banks are there in India right now? Public sector bank means government owned bank, or the bank having majority share is of government. मैंने बता दिया. Now please answer this question. 12, 14, 21, 22. Right now we are asking. Amisha is saying D. Right now means we have not privatized those two banks, or the government has planned. So we are not talking about that. Right now, how many public sector banks are there? Amisha Sharma has said D. Anybody else? Sir, if government sells 49% share, then it will be called privatization or no, no, not as such. Selling the share but not privatization will be only when majority share is sold. Okay. जब प्राइवेट कंपनी उसको कंट्रोल करने लगे तब वो प्राइवेटाइजेशन होगा. ठीक है ना. Divyani is saying B. Satakshi Angaj is saying B. 14 it means. Kamal is saying C. Anybody else? Rais Suhail is saying A. Anybody? Aditi Gupta is saying A. Yashraj saying A. Amisha Sharma B. Jyoti saying B. KP Jha is B. Shahid A. Okay, I hope you should be knowing this actually. I was expecting this answer unanimously. Answer is A actually. Why are we discussing it? Because I think 1 or 2 years back, there was a concept of privatization of, you can say merger of 10 public sector banks into four actually. And I hope you have seen this article. Government has consolidated 10 public sector banks into फोर बैंक्स. ठीक है ना. 10 बैंक को मर्ज करके 4 बैंक बना दिया गया था. ओके. एंड दिस फ्रॉम द आर्टिकल फ्रॉम ग्रेडअप ओनली. लिस्ट ऑफ मर्जर ऑफ पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स इन इंडिया 2021. ओके. एंड आफ्टर दैट the total number of banks, public sector banks left are now 2 public sector banks right now. Okay, is it clear? Please remember this because these things are in news. Now let's talk about this question. Question number 3. Who is the current chairman of State Bank of India? Why I'm asking, because I think in October 2020, last year only, a new chairman has been made. So these are the four options: Arundhati Bhattacharya, Dinesh Kumar Khara, Rajneesh Kumar, and the last one is YV Reddy. Which is the right answer? Anybody? Ray Swell is saying B. Satakshi is saying B. Yashraj is saying B. Riya Mishra is saying B. Rohit Sharma B. सर क्रिप्टो करेंसी के ऊपर भी एक क्लास कीजिए प्लीज. ओके ओके, I'll keep this in mind. Divyani is saying B. Shahid is saying B. KP Jha is saying C. Kamal is saying D. Jyoti Vats B. Rashmi Singh is saying C. Okay, the answer is actually B. Dinesh Kumar Khara is the right answer. Actually, he was previously the SBI chairman. In fact, she was also once the SBI chairman. The current is Dinesh Kumar Khara. You can see this article from October 6, 2020. The Hindu article says government appoints Dinesh Kumar Khara as SBI chairman. This is in fact important for any other LLB exam where one liner is being asked. So please remember this first thing. Second thing is this person YV Reddy was the governor of RBI once, many years back, I think 5-10 years back. Okay, so YV Reddy cannot be the answer. Now, let's talk about the fourth question. And the fourth question says, in which year did Indira Gandhi government nationalized 14 banks? इस साल इंदिरा गांधी की सरकार ने 14 बैंक को नेशनलाइज कर दिया था. इट मींस नेशनलाइजेशन मींस फ्रॉम प्राइवेट बैंक टू पब्लिक. गवर्नमेंट इज बाइंग, गवर्नमेंट बॉट these 14 banks. Okay. Now, the answers are 1969, 1991, 1984, 1961. What is the right answer? Please answer this question. In fact, this is very important also. Rais Soil is saying A, 1969. Anupam Kavade is saying 1969. Nilofar Sheikh is saying B, retracted. Shubha Maria is saying A. Pata nahi. Okay, no problem. Tanmay Srivastav A. Rashmi Divyani Nilofar A. Shahid is saying A. Tisha Jain is saying B. Yashraj Singh is saying A. Okay, anybody else? KP Jha is saying B. Amisha Sharma A. Rohit Sharma is saying sir A but not sure. Okay, so the answer is basically A. Rais while saying sir JCPOP class please. JCPOP. Okay, Iranian deal. Okay, we'll discuss about that. Satakshi Angaj is saying A. Okay, I have given the answer. The answer is A 1969 actually. 1991, this is also famous as far as economics is concerned because of LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, because of which 1991 is very famous. And this is an article actually. What happened was last year, 2 years back actually. If we add 50, then it becomes 2019. So in 2019, there was 50 years of bank nationalization. What it means, why banks were nationalized. So that is why it was in news also. And this is very important actually for various reasons. Okay, please, whenever you have time, please go and read more about the bank nationalization, various bank nationalization in detail. Okay, is it clear? Now, if you are preparing for CLAT 2022, let's say, for example, you are in class 11th or 12th, you are trying for the next year, we have our batches. So please do join. Here is our number. And please do press the right button also. We'll be very thankful for that. And please, you can, if you have any query, you can ask on this number. And here, these are the numbers with which you can ask any query. Okay. I hope you would have liked the session. And thanks for watching.